Hello guys and welcome to today's live. Great to have you on a Sunday afternoon here with us. Today we are going to be discussing a lot of things with Shantanu sir himself, founder of FC Noida Football Schools. Hello Shantanu sir, welcome.
Hi.
So just waiting for other people to join in. Guys, send this the link of the live to your friends, to all the FC Noida players, especially parents. Parents, please join in. Kids, if you're there, please make sure that your parents are watching this because we are going to be discussing a lot of things today that hold a lot of importance, especially for the upcoming season of 2024-25, which has just begun from the 1st of April onwards, and we're just 1 month into our season as well. So what we'll be discussing today is what happened in the previous season, the season of 2023-24, and also what basically our plans are for season 24-25. Also keeping in mind with like what's happening in Indian football and around the Indian youth football scenario as well. So I think we should start. So that is what I just as explained ki what we are trying to do with the live today. This live especially is for everyone involved in the FC Noida ecosystem. Our Instagram followers, especially the players which are in our academies, enrolled in our academies, playing in the elite and excellent squads, and the parents as well. This is very crucial for parents to see that what is the pathway that we are basically trying to design for our players and how we are basically trying to progress them into and propel them into professional levels. So welcome Chandu sir again. I will start with my questions that we have. Thank you so much for giving us your time. So before actually we dive in what FC Noida is trying to do, I think we should take a bit of a broader perspective towards Indian youth football per se. I just want to ask you, so what do you think is happening in Indian youth football and grassroots football all over the country, especially in grassroots academies, and do you think it's actually contributing towards our mission aligned vision of like playing at a global tournament or producing very good players? What is exactly happening right now?
Right, I think there's a lot of momentum in the grassroots structure, to be honest, across different parts of India. If you talk about the hotbeds of India, like say Mizoram, Manipur, and there are upcoming hotbeds as well, like say Bangalore, Mumbai. So that way, I think like if you there's a lot of content also that is being put out, which is very important, and there's a platform that allows say a 6-year-old child to go and keep playing competitions throughout the year. So I think there is a lot of momentum on that end, and there are a lot of grassroots leagues that are happening, but they're specifically, I would say, happening primarily in these areas. Whereas अगर आपको पूरे country का football बढ़ाना है, तो I think it takes a lot of participation from the non-footballing states as well. So I would like to consider NCR as a non-footballing state only, considering like the lack of structure, the lack of grassroots platforms as well. So I think if we talk about NCR specifically, there needs to be a lot of efforts that need to go in terms of participation, in terms of if you talk about the structured competition, if we talk about just say if we look back over the last 3 or 4 years, to be honest, I don't see a lot of change in NCR in terms of youth development and grassroots. There have been very limited teams that were participating, say back जब ये FF Youth League होता था, I'm talking about pre-COVID. There were some top teams which used to participate, and even till date, the actual teams which are comprising of local players, to be honest, वो भी आज that number is somewhere around 6 to 7 only across multiple age groups. Rest of them, like there's no disrespect to any player who's coming from outside NCR, but then again, local players को chance बहुत कम मिलता है, to be honest. So I think the associations, state associations, district associations, they need to really step up their game and they need to create that platform. Otherwise, I think NCR would still remain a non-footballing state. So I think that's now if you talk about say the Mizoram grassroots league which is taking place, which is being run by Reliance and World One Sports. And then if you talk about DPDL, say in Bangalore and Mumbai, I mean, there's a lot of consistency in terms of competition. You can see the talent. It's sort of unheard कि आप देख रहे हो कि एक 8 साल का बच्चा ऐसे खेल रहा है. So that's a big deal, and that's what is required.
Definitely. I think because recently there was a very alarming statistic regarding Indian football as well, that a very small proportion of the total Indian population like say 1 to 2% of the total population is basically responsible of taking out 75 to 80% of Indian footballers.
Right.
The rest 80 to 90% is still in that initial phases as well, and they are not contributing. Where if they start contributing, and if the basically the football development is even geographically, we can basically maybe able to produce even more players as well. I hope, like, I think that's what you're trying to say as well, and you mentioned about DPDL as well. The content which is coming out is astonishing. I would say that the level of players at the age of 9 and 10 and the way that they are playing, it's good to see that at least like even Indian like kids of that age can like perform at that level. So yeah.
जैसे अभी हम डिस्कस कर रहे थे वो जो Alchemy versus BFC वाला, I mean that was amazing. I mean how you see that?
Yes, exactly.
कि
The way they're playing.
30 seconds के अंदर 2 गोल पड़ रहे हैं, and the way the crowd was going crazy with the kid with that hair.
Yeah, the mohawk and
That's
everything.
culture, man.
Yeah, that's what we actually need, because the very nice point you said about the crowd, where it was the stands were full for an under 11 match. You don't see that, like the turf was there, the game was going on, and the stand was actually full, where obviously it would, most of them would comprise the parents, but they were also like fully involved. It wasn't like that they weren't involved, like they were like cheering every tackle, every pass, and the goals which went in, and that was like an amazing game. I think every audience you should see DPDL is a tournament which is going on in Bangalore, where all academies are involved. And recently there was a game, like the final game between Bengaluru FC under 11 versus Alchemy Football Club. And the quality of football, I think you will be impressed. Matlab, you won't, if you see it, you will have a new perspective that yes, like we also have talented players, and there's a lot of potential to work on for us as well. It's not just like that.
Disclaimer: this is not a paid,
not a
paid promotion of DPDL.
Yes,
but
yes,
हमारे भी
that's what we are
under
working
11s, हमारे भी under 11s कम नहीं है. I think
Yes.
they have been playing.
Yes, our under 11s as well. I would say, I think Noida NCR में, I'm not trying to say, but yeah, I think we are the best currently. As we had the 4th match day of the City Super League, which is being organized at BGS Vijnatham School, and we basically finished first without conceding a goal in over like 9 to 10 matches in our under 11 league. So that's what we're working towards. We want to be the best not only in Noida and the NCR region, but because we have to compete with a pan-India group of two talent pool as well. So that's what we are aiming towards. So how we are planning to do that, that's what we'll be discussing from now onwards. Coming back, so our 23-24 season just came to an end on the 31st of March 2024. Basically, the Indian football calendar for grassroots, and the calendar comes from the March to April. Very a bit similar to the financial year, as I could say. So sir, I would like you to give me a review of last season. What were the goals that you had set in the starting, and what all initiatives the club took, even at the academy level, at the elite and excellence, and what all initiatives. Just a basic overview from your side, and how would you like fare it?
Right. Just a slight, I won't say correction, but generally अपना जो calendar होता है, that is August to May end.
Okay.
But now I think we need to align
it.
I don't think you can compete with education in India.
Yes.
So it's better to align the calendar towards the academic session जो अपना school का होता है April to March end. But then again, if you talk about the AFF Youth League competitions, उनके जो finals होते हैं, they take place in May. So I think, I mean still, for the academy, I think we are trying to sort of align towards the academic year जो school का होता है. So now, if we talk about the last season, 23-24, it was quite a season, considering I think this was the first time in our club's history that we had one full football season without any interruption. Because even 22-23, maybe I believe COVID third wave was,
just a bit, yeah.
So that way, I think we were able to work in full flow in the last season, and there were multiple, I would say, achievements. There were a lot of good things. There were a lot of learnings as well, and we also got to understand from a operational point of view कि कैसी चीजें करनी जरूरी है. So I'll just sort of go into detail about that. So firstly, I would like to start with so I think the season started with one of our success stories, that was Arpan, who was training with us since 2022-21, I guess 21 end. He was with us from the under 13 batch, and he got selected for Reliance. So I think वो बहुत ही बढ़िया चीज़ थी. Being selected in their under 14, considering Reliance is one of the best youth setups in the country. So to be scouted from a place like NCR, I think it's a big achievement itself. Again, he was following in the footsteps of Rio, who was again training with us for a while, and he got selected into Jamshedpur FC. So that way, I think NCR se players nikalna is somewhat rare from what I see. There are other academies who have done that as well, not to take any credit from them, but it's quite rare. Generally, it's not known. Then I think later on the year we had, I think for the BC Roy Trophy, we had, I think we had Rishabh, we had Kartike, we had one more player who represented Delhi State for the BC Roy Trophy in under 15 and under 17. So that again in itself was a great achievement, I believe. And yeah, I think in terms of that, apart from these super success stories, I think rest of these squads they did well in the local or the regional level in terms of say Noida में जितने भी tournaments and वो सब थे. So if we talk about again like City Super League, the previous edition, the Wisdom League. Then we had the School Super League that was in Genesis Global. So our different teams and different age groups starting from under 7 till under 13 I believe, they all had different achievements which was very good. Like some teams were finishing second, some teams were finishing the league on top of the table. I think our most impressive have been, I think the most young ones,
under
7s, under 8s.
And it's always the most fulfilling and fun to watch them.
Yeah.
The way they play, it's because they play just for the passion of the game. They it's not like they're playing for the results. It's just they're just purely enjoying the game, fully emotions on display. Yeah,
that is it. Even the one that took place in Tyagara Stadium, the Young Star Academy Grassroots League, which was affiliated with the DSA. Yeah. So that again was a good campaign. So I think we are, I would say, in Noida and NCR, we are doing well in terms of grassroots competitions, and this is what we plan to carry forward in the coming season. Because we step up like you have under 7, under 8, under 9, under 10. So you're eventually dominating and you're doing well, and that is what will, that's the objective where they keep taking this ahead to say under 13, under 15 in the youth leagues and all. So that way I think competition terms where we are doing good that ways, and success stories का जो मैंने अभी बताया that they were there. Then we also had an important partnership that came to a conclusion, that was with Global Sports. They were assisting us and monitoring the coach education aspect for the last 2.5 years, and I think we had a great compatibility with things, and I think we would just we are super grateful for what we've done. And now as you concluded, we are moving on to something new and something that is more adaptive to our ecosystem, say if you talk about Noida. So that I'll get into it in detail later on. Then if we talk about the girls program, we had 2 different aspects of girls where we are trying to promote gender parity in terms of football participation. So इसमें if we start, we can talk about the girls batch that we had started. I think that was in October.
It was in October, just regarding near our foundation.
Yes. So उसमें we had a good we did kick it off, but I think due to some, I would say, not, I think it happened due to the participation issue in terms of the lack of participation. So our batches, we had 2 batches, but then again the girls were in the age of 6 to 15, so they were not able to train together because there was so much difference in the physicality and everything. So we are again trying to bring it up where we have more participation. We are trying to come up with some activities, some marketing activities that will get more girls to participate.
We had a problem of participation in terms of getting the girls on field, and what we are trying to actually do is regarding this for the girls program to kick, we don't want all the girls to just come on the field. We just want to, I think, find reasons why was there a lack of participation in the first place. I think going down into that reason is pretty important, because to have a proper girls team you need a good pool of talent to choose from. But when you don't have that talent pool, it becomes a bit difficult, and then the competition automatically decreases when all the girls go to that stage, because a very small proportion of girls are actually playing. So any parent who's watching this and everything, I think we should put down in the comments below as well.
Yes.
Why do you think that, like, why the participation of girls is pretty low in football, especially Indian football, I would say, and if there are any suggestions, how can we basically kick on and get more girls in our girls development program and through our academies? Please give us a if you have this. Definitely.
Right. Yeah, even I would like to take this opportunity to all the parents who are listening to this right now, and that with respect to the marketing activity जो हम बात कर रहे हैं, so what we are planning to do is every enrolled child in our setup right now, we are trying to sort of research a number of female siblings which are there in the families, and since you're already listening to us, we would request to help them encourage as well take up the sport, because I understand they might be playing or they might be participating in some other activities, say like in arts or in dance or anything else for that matter. Gymnastics ho gaya, there's a lot of high participation in gymnastics as well. So we also would like to request you to give us a chance to be, at least make them taste the joy of football, because that is also something that is very important. So the marketing activity, one of the marketing activities which I was telling you was, we're going to explore this thing where we are checking up kinke siblings hai who can help us. So this was again a great idea by our consultant Mr. Orko, who is in taking the initiative of the girls program. So he has an extensive background into that. So talking about the talent pool, so the second thing which we did was in partnership with our with Medha Foundation, where we, in order to increase participation, we were giving training across two schools, which were like low budget schools and marginalized societies. And this was in the two villages, which is one is Shadra, which is in sector 141, and there is Asgarpur, which is right behind our Prometheus center. So इसमें हमने क्या किया था, we were training girls in the age of 6 to 10 free of cost throughout the year. This again was started with the timeline of the girls program, October wala foundation week. So what we did was we had, I think per center we had around 30 girls.
Yeah, so over 60 girls are currently out there.
So they're still training, and every week they're having two training sessions where our coaches who have been doing great work, coaches Aslam, Bhupender, Bhumika, Tushar, and now we have more girls who are working as coaches. So they have been very instrumental in making sure that the girls build that interest, and they have been doing well. So now the idea is to keep that going on. At the same time, we have talented girls who are coming up. We want to take them and absorb them in our system, so that the participation wala jo issue hai, that is somewhat addressed. Yeah. So I think that's very important.
Yeah,
that's what we plan to do.
That's what, because we actually aim to get these girls who are in the marginalized. We selected these schools on the basis that they are near to our existing centers. That once we have them scouted and we feel that there is potential, we basically shift them to our paid centers and train them on a full scholarship basis. As sir said, to basically solve that participation problem, because we want players from all strata of society. We obviously we are true to our mission of developing football in Noida. By Noida, we don't only mean the high rises and the posh societies. We all want to go to every nook and corner of Noida. That's what our mission is, and we'll see where it goes and how we are actually working towards it. So that was the 23-24 season. We had a new center launch in sector 141 as well. And how was that? How is the location working, and what would you like to say about that?
With respect to 141, it hasn't been that easy. To be honest, has been more of a challenge considering the location in terms of वो थोड़ा,
yes,
I would say urban slum वाले area में है. So due to that होता है, I think some parents are not very comfortable sending that. But then again, we still have I would say a okay number, and we plan to build on that. But again, that is a very important center for us, because that is and will be acting as a feeder to our Prometheus Center that is at Wishtown. So Wishtown वाले region में हमारे मतलब again then we have our concept of elite squads. So in order to be a feeder to the elite squad, that's what we are trying to do with respect to that. But then again, I think it will pick up.
It will pick up. I will say that I think location can be different. मतलब, there is obviously that, but I think slowly. I think because since there are competition as well. So regarding that, so I think we'll obviously get there as per that and coming to that. So that was mostly about it regarding the 23-24 season, regarding our success stories, sticking to our mission of developing players and basically propelling them to higher levels. That's what we did, opening a new center, then giving that exposure to our existing players as well in the tournaments which we had in Noida and even went to Delhi for some various tournaments. How would you assess that season? And after assessing that, I would like you to tell the goals for the next season for 24-25 and what are your goals? First, assess the previous season and what I would ask you to be a bit critical about it and say what all can be even like perfected even more and even work towards like in a much better way as well to what we did. Obviously, we did put in all our efforts, but obviously anything can be done in a better way. How would you say that?
If you want to quantify it, I would say a 6 out of 10 maybe.
6 out of 10.
Because again, like I said, this was the first time we were
in a full
swing season, and होता है मतलब every organization when they scale up to an extent and जब अचानक से scale up करते हो, there are problems to stabilize the whole environment.
Yeah.
So when I say stabilizing, I'm talking about the operational bit. There were a lot of challenges because there were some times when we felt that we were understaffed due to on a management stand, because I think a lot of parents did have some problems जब अचानक से वो होता है, तो there were a lot of times when the management was not able to handle the workload. But then again, like I said, there were a lot of learnings as well. So what we are trying to do is have streamlined processes in every department, and that's how we plan to scale up properly. Then in terms of I would say assessment की अगर बात करें तो technical level पे जैसे हम बात करें like I was going to share what's the next plan for this season. So I believe that there were some things missing in our curriculum which I believe have to be more adaptive to our ecosystem. That is मतलब हमें एक child का एक पूरे दिन का routine समझना ज़रूरी है कि वो child कितना physical level पे he or she is active throughout the day, how much, because you can't compare a culture of say Manipur or Mizoram versus
to the culture of
Delhi or Noida, because that is the issue. जहाँ पे one child who is playing football in school, in the streets in the evening, and then probably he or she is going to the academy as well 3 days a week, versus you're competing with a child who is
playing football 7 days or 6 days.
Correct. नहीं, if you talk about Noida NCR child, you're talking about someone who's training say 4.5 hours in the academy and then probably शाम को 1 घंटा करेंगे. So there's a lot of difference.
Yeah.
So that's what we need to. I believe that we need to make some changes in our curriculum.
Very important point I think you mentioned regarding the change in move, because I think it's a bit of a trend, as you can see. I'm not trying to be like a know-it-all or something, but all academies and clubs, what they're trying to do is that they copy paste a foreign curriculum and a foreign methodology and they try to implement it on the Indian children. We are able to see that there is a context difference even within India, even within a Manipur to a Delhi, and then they expect people to paste a European context to an Indian. So how that's an even wider context, and that even widens the gap even more. With that respect, sir, I would like to stepping into the new season 24-25. How are we trying to fit into that context, and how are we trying to implement that methodology in the 24-25 season?
Before I get into that, it's a fun thing. It reminded me of our movie Maidan, because I think that's what an absolute legend, coach S.A. Rahim. I mean, how he did not do this. At the same time, he came up with something that would work, like copy paste wala cheez nahi kiya, but he adapted to what Indian players were capable of, and he played to their strengths. And I was just reading an article 2 days back regarding how he wanted to ensure that every player who is playing is capable of switching in different positions and making it happen. And we also, for those who have not watched the movie, please do watch it. Please make sure you make your 6-year-old, 7-year-old child watch that movie, because I am telling you, it will create such a vision and inspiration for the child you can't even imagine. So for those who missed it, please do go and watch it. It's amazing.
He implemented the concept of total football before Barcelona.
I don't know about that. उससे भी पहले वैसे Rinus Mitchell करके there was this person who was responsible for total football. My history is not very good, but I think it goes back there.
Yeah.
But anyways, so coming back to our
plans for this coming season.
Season 24-25. Most importantly, जैसे मैं curriculum और उसकी बात कर रहा था, so we are welcoming back our first technical partner, that was B-Pro methodology, that was under the guidance of Mr. Andres Vargas, who is a UEFA Pro licensed coach. And the idea is to, currently the curriculum which we are operating, we are planning to make some tweaks which are more again adaptive to our ecosystem. So अभी तक होता था कि हम लेवल बेस्ड बैचेस होते थे हमारे, बट नाउ व्हाट वी आर प्लानिंग टू कम अप विद इज टू reintroduce the concept of age groups, where the player is in their specific batch as per the age, but then again there is a mix of the ability as well. So that way we can have a better progression, and there's a lot of from my observations and what we discuss, what feedback we get in the office from our coaches and the management is that there's a lot of confusion as well, like with the parents. होता है, I mean, if it's you're not familiar with the sport, then आपको समझने में थोड़ा दिक्कत होता है. So considering all those things, we'll be making some changes in the curriculum that I believe is already taking place. Parents must be, the batch shifting was going on, and May onwards we were making the changes. So I believe that this would further streamline our, player development process, which is, very crucial in terms of how the player is progressing across different batches. So that is, I think, one of the biggest changes we are making. And for all the parents, अगर है, मतलब I'm sure जब कोई change होता है तो there is some disturbance or disruption. So like in your routines, like आपको MWF की जगह TTS आना पड़ रहा है, so we pardon us for that, but I think it was much needed and we require your cooperation for all that. So please help us in ensuring that everything is in the right way. Then I would say with respect to like last year, अच्छा हाँ, एक चीज़ हमने मिस कर दी last season की, where we had our first foundation league. So foundation league, I'll just elaborate here. So if we talk about the foundation league, is a platform for every child who is just, say started training, say for a few months, and that is the first taste of competition they get. But then again, in an internal surrounding. When I say internal, I'm talking about batches जो हमारे अलग अलग सेंटर्स पे ट्रेन कर रहे हैं. से एक अंडर 8 का बैच है एंड एक अंडर 8 का बैच पैसिफिक पे है एंड एक अंडर 8 प्रोविंसेस पे है. सो बोथ द बैचेस आर प्लेइंग अगेंस्ट ईच अदर इन द फाउंडेशन लीग. सो द आइडिया इज कि आप किसी भी चाइल्ड को कंपटीशन दे रहे हो, आप सीधे उसको, दिस इज व्हाट वी बिलीव इन एफसी नोएडा, दैट सीधे उसको पानी में नहीं डाल देना है कि दे आर गोइंग एंड प्लेइंग अ प्राइवेट टूर्नामेंट और लीग जहाँ पे द बेस्ट टीम्स ऑफ अदर अकेडमीज आर कमिंग, बिकॉज दैट डजंट go well. So it's a step-by-step progression for a player, जहाँ पे they start with the foundation league first, and then they eventually get selected in the elite squads of a center, and then they go on for private leagues and tournaments and the ones organized by associations. So इसमें last season we had our first foundation league, that was I believe in October. Yes. And a lot of activities are aligned.
I think because I think it's a wonderful initiative, I would say, because as you said ki we have over, I would say, 500 to 600 students in all of our 4 centers currently.
Right.
Yeah, the thing is ki when a player comes, obviously since a new player joins and he's a 7-year-old kid, there are players who've been playing from the age of 5. And when they are at the same age, they're obviously at a higher level. They are the kids who will be actually going to the tournaments to compete and everything. But as we said, football development में exposure, game time, this is like of I think primary importance. These are things. So we want to give that exposure to everyone. We don't just want to give कि हाँ भाई हम we are going to a private tournament, so we'll only take our best players. We also want the newcomers, the beginners, the people at the basic level to give them that exposure, and the exposure in that sense because they're playing in that, like it's a proper tournament environment. I would say that we have like as you would say a proper private tournament. We organize it in such a way that we would have all the parents coming. We would be having music going on, proper marking and stuff. Then we'll have trophies, medals, certificates. So it gives that sort of a tournament vibe, and even the player gets that vibe that they are playing under a competitive. So that obviously helps in their development as well.
Yeah.
So the foundation league definitely.
It actually means a lot. मैंने देखा है like for any आज जैसे for example हम CSL में under 8 में we finished second and third. So I remember players like Rudransh, players like Arinzar, they all played the foundation league last year.
Yeah.
And now they're playing so well and they're dominating a lot of teams. So it means a lot for a 7-8-year-old child who's playing for the first time in a competition. उनको नहीं समझ में आता कि ये private league है. उनके लिए that experience in itself is a very very big thing, and I think it's very important. So last season we did have the foundation league. It went on for I think a month, and I think we had around 150 or 200 kids who participated across multiple. So this season we plan to have 2 editions, and they are more extended. Of course, I mean it was a pilot last season what we did. तो इसमें हमारा ऑब्जेक्टिव ये रहेगा कि हम हर चाइल्ड को कम से कम एटलीस्ट वी आर एबल टू गिव देम 20 competitive matches. Say I'm just talking about the foundation league. So if they are at least getting 15 to 20 competitive matches, I think it's a good way of getting, I would say competitive exposure. And then this thing. So I think this season we are planning to have it in October again, and the other edition would be in January, like once things open up after the New Year's. So that way we will be able to do that. And Foundation League, very much looking forward to it.
Sir, coming back to the 24-25 season, regarding we've talked about the curriculum, the Foundation League. What about our excellence and elite squads? What are the plans for them participating in the youth league? Then what do we have in store for all these players?
Unfortunately, again, like when we started this discussion, the lack of structure is the biggest, I think, roadblock which is, sort of bothering the whole ecosystem in Noida. I believe like over the last 1.5 years, like I've seen Delhi football as well, but Noida mein I think talent बहुत है. Like if we talk about say under 8, under 10 teams, like they're good reputed academies, goal hunters, star strikers, YDFA, they have good talent, and of course our teams are also good. So it's good to see there's a lot of good competition that is taking place. And मेरे हिसाब से it's 2 ecosystems that compete with each other. Like for example, we talk about Mizoram and we talk about Noida. तो जब तक नोएडा का overall ecosystem progress नहीं करेगा, where every team is playing at par level, तब तक हम catch up नहीं कर पाएंगे, because वहाँ पे Mizoram kid is getting to play against good teams every other month. यहाँ पे it would be like 4 teams are good and the rest of the 3 are getting smashed, say 8-0. तो जो बाकी 3 मैचेस है वो डेवलपमेंट में तो काम नहीं है ना. सो आई थिंक there's a lot of catch up to do.
पूरा ecosystem elevate होने की जरूरत है. Every stakeholder.
And I think Noida has the potential to do that. Like I just said that there are good players. It's surprising to see यार कैसा खेल रहा है, बहुत amazing है. So again, there are some things which are not in the club's hands, but So in order to ensure that, I would say. For the elite batches, so just to give a small explanation on the pyramid of the player progression. So जो हमारा base होता है, that is the academy players who are participating in competitions like the foundation league जो मैंने mention किया. Then once the child is good enough to play say in a private tournament, they go to the next level. That is the same teams go for practice matches, friendly matches. जैसे for example right now. Sharad's and Abhi's batches are playing practice matches. I think for the last 6-7 weekends they've been playing against Step by Step School in Noida, which has a good school team. and they have been playing regularly with them. So वहाँ से फिर वो player आगे निकल के they'll make it to the elite batch. So elite batch is the best batch from a specific center. So we are talking about, so this year we plan to have three age categories, that is the under 8, under 10 and under 12. This is in alignment with the AIFF ka baby league wala structure. So for them the competitions would be private leagues, and अगर कोई baby league करा दे बहुत पुरानी होगी. So for them the eligible competitions would be these. Then we go to the next progression, that is the excellence. So excellence is where the best players of all the centers come together and train. So now we finally have under 13, which we will be planning to train at Sector 77. So we also, by the way, launched our Sector 77 center in April. Yeah. So that is also
My
pretty
favorite
nice.
center. Yes,
Because it's close to office.
I just the location. I just love the location, and
Right.
even the turnout that we had on the first day. I would say we haven't had such a good turnout on the first day, and the quality of player as well. I would say the quality of players that coming on the first day from other academies as well. So it was really nice to be there that day.
And also Uber bike का खर्चा कम है.
Yes. Yes. Pretty near to a.
So yeah, coming back to the excellence squad. So that's what we are planning. So we are planning to focus for the under 13s this season, like under 12s, and under 12s again is elite. Under 13 is excellence. So the excellence batches are eligible to play for the youth leagues that happen, say the state youth league or the FF youth league. So let's see how the structure progresses on behalf of the associations, and eventually we'll progress to it. And with respect to the, again, जो चीज़ें हमारे हाथ में नहीं है, it's a bit tough, but what we can control is we can ensure that at least these teams are playing practice matches, good competitive practice matches throughout the season. So the target would be say around 40 to 50 matches this season. Last season we did, I think across competitions we must have played, मैं elite batches की बात कर रहा हूँ. They must have played 30 plus matches.
30 plus matches.
Which I think it's a good number.
And 10 plus in the foundation league for the academy.
Because अगर आप साल में 52 वीक्स हैं, उसमें से अगर आप 10 महीने फुटबॉल खेल रहे हो तो आपके 40 मैचेस, तो आई थिंक दैट्स द जनरल यूरोपियन स्टैंडर्ड.
Yes, three matches a week I would say, like from Saturday midweek then Saturday again, but yeah, if वैसे
नहीं हर महीने में आप कम से कम 4 मैचेस
4 मैचेस on Saturday.
Right. So 40 matches is generally the European yardstick for that. So we did reach somewhat 25-30 matches with our elite batch, and वो दिखता है now, and the maturity we see in the competition is very amazing. So this season we plan to cater to that by reaching 40-45, and as we go forward we want to have more number of matches so that we are able to catch up जो वो बच्चे अभी तक नहीं खेल पाए पिछले 2-3 साल में. So yeah, with respect to excellent squads and elite squads, we are planning to do this.
Yes. So coming now to, since we've said that we wanted the competition to be, we have the competition with academies throughout Pan India. How are we trying to solve that problem? I think something like an exposure trip or something like that should be in the books, or should be arranged for the kids so that they have a taste of what football throughout India is like, not only just Noida.
Right, absolutely. So I was there last year in Bangalore, and I did speak with a lot of top clubs there. And yeah, they were looking forward to host us. So the idea is to take our the most promising squads, say excellence and elite squads, for say a week's tour or say a 10-day tour जहाँ पे they get to play against good teams, DPDL like teams. I get to play against that kid with the AS.
So good work for a defender.
Yeah. I think that's only how you get, मतलब एक को पता होता है कि आपके ऊपर भी ये competition है भाई, आपको इतना push करना है आगे. So I think that way that would be a good exposure tour. So we are aiming for 2 exposure tours this season, but let's see, उसके भी अपने challenges होते हैं logistically and financially. So let's see, but yeah, I would say 90% we're definitely going for that. We'll look forward to it. I can't wait to see our 13-14 born players who are doing really well under Aryan to go and
and
compete with
play. Definitely.
some really
I'll be on that plane as well today. Sir, coming to the, like we discussed regarding our girls program, what issues that we faced,
Right.
how are we planning to solve them coming in the planning year? Because obviously this is a process which will take time. It's obviously a process
Yeah.
to get the girls in, then start their training, then build a squad. Then it is obviously, I would say, a 3, 4, 5 year process just to like kick it up and like get it on a basic level where it should be, and then obviously an even longer process to like take it to the elite levels. What do you think? How are we planning to tackle this in the upcoming season, and what are the things we've been doing?
एक तो वही था जो I mentioned earlier with respect to the sibling factor. Let's call it the sibling factor. So उस पे तो I think we need to do it aggressively, and of course parents who are listening again, we request you to please at least engage your girl child, to play the sport once. Give it a shot for a week.
For a week.
So थोड़ा actually enjoy करने में थोड़ा time लगता है. But then again, it's a challenge which is somewhat tough for us. But maybe we'll also try to plan for a baby league where they get some basic competition and they get that experience where they are enjoying the sport. Again, it has to be on a very very initial nascent level, so that, because too much competition can also discourage and kill the morale of a child. So that way, that's what we're planning. Then this case may we don't have a certain number of players, then I think the best case scenario is what we did with Deepika Pal again. She was another phenomenal success story of ours. So she, back in the day, used to play in an all boys team. She used to compete in the team used to have just one female player, that was her, and she was playing alongside the boys, and that's the reason why she's right now the emerging best player in the senior divisions, and now she's playing very well in the national leagues. Right now, I think she's in the Delhi state team for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
At
Under
the age of
17.
15,
she was playing the under 17.
so I think that's an absolute. I think we have to explore that option. We do have some girls who are in that category. I think Aradhya is there, then there's this girl, I think Adya is there in Pacific. Vedanshi is there. Vedanshi has been doing very well. She has got, I think, 20 plus competitive matches.
Easily, and she's the captain of the under 18s as well.
She was?
Yeah. Do you remember her post-match interview?
So that's again, I think that is the route we have to take. And apart from that, of course, our foundation program in collaboration with Meda Foundation, I think that has to be our feeder to the girls program, जहाँ से हम we get some really good 3 to 4 girls, because at least that is the number we need to maintain a squad that way. So eventually we want to get them, and the proximity to our academy centers will help करेगा for them to be part of this. Yeah, quite an exciting. I'm super excited
to go and get into the season.
Especially when I see our young players like Heather smashing team.
Yes, definitely. Quite fun. That's what we are seeing. So I think we are coming to the end of the live. Sir, at the end, just to finish it off, I would like you, since this live was mostly like for the parents, to show them what we are planning for the upcoming season. I would just like you to give a closing note for the parents, a message for the parents regarding thanking them for their support, and what do we expect from them, and please just anything for the parents. What would you like to say?
I remember when last year, I think our first ever competition was school soccer league in Genesis, and I remember talking to Aryan. I think it was Aryan only, to give parent education, जो मतलब एक footballing parent होता है ना, उसके they have to understand that it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So I remember there are a lot of points which he had shared at 6 in the morning, so that parents are relaxed, composed, letting their child play rather than giving instructions कि भाई ये करो वो करो ये करो. आज भी होता है. I mean, it's tough to hold on to your emotions, because you see your loved one who is getting in and you want them to excel. But then again, I think I would just take this opportunity to reiterate those points again, that again, like it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. जहाँ पे आपका child is starting with the age of 6 years, and अभी 10 साल हैं जहाँ पे वो हर हर साल they'll play 30-40 matches, and there'll be a lot of times they will play amazing. They'll be on a different level, and some days they'll be on the other end where they'll be very clueless what to do. जैसे आज देखा हमने 13 में हुआ था ये सारी चीजें. So there are always ups and downs. I don't know, like it's like the stock market where the graph is always going up and down. The idea is to, not the idea, the secret is to just focus on that there is eventually gradual progression in the child's development. Just like Aryan Wala's batch, I remember they were finishing second and third for almost 1.5 years, beat in Wisdom League. And now in CSL, how they have performed.
Yeah.
I'm glad that मैं एक महीने बाद ही मैच देखना था, because वो change ज़्यादा दिखता है उसमें. So I was really delighted to see how they played in terms of maturity, their confidence on the ball and all those things. So then again, this is because competition at the end of the day is the ultimate thing we are preparing the child for. Of course, from the holistic development aspect as well. But if we talk only in footballing terms, so that is the main thing which we are focusing on. So उसमें we have to be very patient. We have to be very understanding and empathetic. I mean, imagine yourself as a parent, to put yourself in their shoes. Like just I think last match day in CSL, we had, I think, our match against Star Strikers. That was I think we had to win that at all costs. So I remember that was our third match under 11s ka. I mean, we are talking about 9-year-old kids who are playing in a temperature of 35 degrees, 40 degrees, and उनका वो third match था. And then of course it had to be like जीतना ही जीतना है. But sometimes we forget that they're a 9-year-old child जो कि इतनी गर्मी में तीसरा मैच खेल रहा है, and we are screaming from outside कि क्या कर रहे हो, मतलब ऐसा क्यों नहीं खेल रहे हो भाई. That time the body is so exhausted that you can't expect that. But then again, they won the match. It was some finish to the match. But then again, these are all very small things which I think as a parent you need to understand कि it's very, try to put yourself in their shoes and you'll understand how tough it is. So pretty much that. Otherwise parents, we are super grateful for what you irrespective do when you get your child for the training, ensure that they come on time, especially for the matches as well. So in whole, the contribution is immense, and of course we need this this alignment in the thought process, which is very important. It will definitely take the child a long way, and patience is very important. There are a lot of I would say distracting factors that take place. I mean, there are always 50 चीज़ें होती हैं. So the idea is to keep your child focused, to be focused as well as a parent, and that will eventually get the goal that we want to achieve. That is a good footballer, a developed footballer, and of course second comes the concept of the club and FC Noida. So as a family.
Sure. Thank you so much, Andu sir. So thank you everyone who joined this live. We will be sharing this live with you on the parents WhatsApp group as well for you to see, because I think there were a lot of great insights. So thank you, Shantanu sir, again. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining, and we will be uploading this live on our feed as well.
Any questions?
I don't know if do you have any questions? Nidhi ma'am she's saying wonderful to hear. Thank you so much, Nidhi ma'am. Great that we've noticed that you were here from the start and listening to us. Thank you so much.
Saish was great.
Saish was great today. So thank you everyone. Thank you parents. I will still wait if we have any questions or any comments, just to see.
I think even no, I think I'm good.
You're good. Okay guys, I think we'll end the live. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you for being a part of the FC Noida family. Stay tuned, and we'll see you again. Thanks.
Thank you.